tour through the Southeast today. This is normally territory the Republicans take for granted, but Bush tried to get voters to ignore the polls that show him trailing Governor Clinton badly.
Don't believe these crazy polls. Don't believe these nutty pollsters. Don't let these guys tell you what you think. You have a debate, you see what you think, and then 2 seconds later some crackpot comes on and tells you what you think. We don't need that in the United States.
Aides say Bush will campaign non-stop between now and Election Day, hitting at least...
President Bush whistle-stopped through Georgia and once again accused Bill Clinton of flip-flopping on the issues. His chief rival held a...
With time running out, the president was on the second day of his whistle-stop tour of 3 southern states, keeping to a brutal schedule of rallies from dawn to darkness.
Thank you. All aboard. All aboard.
He is missing no chance to make his pitch, and today that included an interview with ABC News done at White House invitation as the train rolled between stops. Mr. Bush seemed in good spirits, waving and talking by loudspeaker to people who stood by the tracks to watch him pass.
How are you? Good to see you all.
He insisted he's not discouraged, though he conceded his own polls are only slightly more promising than all the others that show him well behind.
So my view is just get your message out, get out and campaign, and have confidence that the people in the final analysis are going to say, who do I trust to be president of this country? I mean, we're past the stage where promises and all matter. And
has it turned out to be harder for you than you thought?
Well, we're in a real fight, put it that way. But I don't know about more than I thought. Nobody ever said it would be easy, and it isn't. But it's worth the fight.
He did acknowledge, though, that many voters may now feel it's time to move away from the generation of leaders who helped end the Cold War.
I think you got a point. I think you have a point that people are saying, well, this foreign affairs doesn't matter and there's no enemies and all of that. There are. There's problems out there, and we better keep strong.
This was George Bush in what he might call full campaign mode, focused, determined, competitive, and outwardly at least unworried by the odds. Deep down, he may not be enjoying this, but if he's not, he's at least giving a good imitation. Britt Hume, ABC News, Thomasville, North Carolina.
The South, hoping for a comeback in the polls and, most importantly, on Election Day. Mr. Bush insisted again today that the U.S. economy is not as bad as the economies of other countries. The United States State Department is scratching
the commuter train just after 12 noon in Upper Dublin Township today. Police say the driver of the truck had backed up onto the tracks while making a turn into a construction site. He didn't see the train, which barreled into the truck just after leaving the Ambler station. The train engineer had to be cut from his compartment, and he was flown to Hahnemann University Hospital in Philadelphia with a fractured pelvis and leg injuries. The driver of the truck was less seriously hurt. He is now at Abington Memorial Hospital. The accident caused delays of up to 1 hour on the R5 Lansdale Doylestown line. And it was a close call this
lingering questions about his role in the arms for hostages scandal as he kicked off a day-long train trip in Wisconsin, where 11 electoral votes are at stake. Bush used the words fright and terror to describe a Clinton presidency, and he again pounded his opponent on the trust issue.
I ask you to
he said of his opponents.
They are literally trying to scare America. The only way that the Clinton-Gore ticket can win is if they convince us that we are a nation in decline.
But Bush tried some scare tactics of his own, warning that every day under a President Clinton would be Halloween, fright and terror. And he raised the specter of picking up a newspaper a year from now to read about a terrorist getting hold of a nuclear weapon.
You got to close your eyes. Imagine in that dangerous situation, an American leader without any experience, completely untested, a leader about whom literally we know very, very little.
But at his Burlington, Wisconsin send-off, over the president's head buzzed an airplane with a banner streaming behind, Iran-Contra haunts you, an issue back on the front burner with Friday's release of a memo that appeared to contradict Bush's assertion that he'd been unaware of an arms for hostages deal. White House Press Secretary Marlin Fitzwater denied the issue was spooking the Bush campaign.
The American people know it's not true. They watched the hearings. They read the congressional report. They know the president's answered all these thousands of questions. They know this whole thing is a crock.
Fitzwater did admit the controversy cost the president a day of campaign time. What's more, spending a full day in a small state chugging through 5 cities is not traditional strategy for the waning hours of an uphill campaign. Candidates usually try to hit as many states as possible. But all the hoopla of a whistle-stop trip adds up to picture-perfect television images, aimed not so much at Wisconsin voters as voters nationwide. After riding the rails, the president is back on Air Force One, speeding on to Michigan, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Ohio, as time before Election Day rapidly runs out. Jill Doherty, CNN, Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
The CNN USA Today
at a well-staged send-off for his 3rd train trip, detractors heckled from the sky with an Iran-Contra haunts Bush banner and from across the river with a well-placed sign. But Mr. Bush insists Governor Clinton is the one who can't be trusted.
And so the difference on Tuesday is going to be a difference between experience, a philosophy, and yes, it is very important, character matters.
The Democrats have tried to turn the character issue around, aided by release of a memo that seems to contradict Mr. Bush's claim that he wasn't in the loop in the arms for hostages deal. The question seems to annoy Mr. Bush.
It's all a matter of public record, and now at the last minute, Friday before an election, you have this charge re-aired by a desperate Clinton campaign.
The issue created fireworks on a call-in show last night. The
day in one state is a gamble, when there are so many other states Bush also needs. But that was the only gamble he took today. The Bush camp feels that this late in the campaign, now is not the time to try anything radically new, especially with the president doing better in some polls. So, Bush is sticking with the same message. The same attacks on Clinton and Gore, the same reminders that the nation's productivity increased slightly in the last quarter.
A lot of families are hurting, but the economy is moving, and the worst news in the world, you can see the tears coming down the face of the governor in the ozone man. You can see it when the tears trickled down her face, because it came out that our economy grew for the 6th straight quarter and grew at 2.7%. Bush thinks he has made Governor Clinton is like being called ugly by a frog. Don't worry about it.
Tomorrow and Monday, Bush will be traveling too fast to go by train as he campaigns in Midwestern and Eastern states where he thinks he has a chance. His aides say he still trails Clinton, but not by much. John Cochran, NBC News, with the Bush campaign in Wisconsin.
Like the airlines. Time it off.
So you can have a conference to yourself. Awesome. Get these 4 seats and we can like merge and everything. Jinx. 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 There you go. Oh, this is the thing that makes us carry back. This is so now we are still behind.
Well, just whoever's on the job, they run under a set station manager up there with them, so they don't just let them go. No, they just whoever's on the job, then they run under supervision of them. All right.
We'll take 2 hamburgers, a hot dog, and...
Well, everybody goes through about noon now.
I wonder why.
Do they charge us?
Back to pay what you want. This one's
Oh, Jennifer.
What's up to see?
Thousands.
That's a good view too. Be careful.
Trying to get it every chance I can get it.
What's going on next week?
Where is it next week? This is the last week for it. Starting next Monday, it'll be running out of New York, going to Boston. Excuse me? It's going to run because it's going to have a turbo train power in it.
I heard they were trying to, they want to take it out to the Midwest. Midwest wants to see it also.
Yeah, they're talking about sending it to Chicago just for a tour.
Of its Railworks program. That's a $300 million effort to upgrade its regional rail lines. And one of the projects will be the construction of a new regional rail line station at Temple University. That's the good news. The bad news is that starting Sunday, service will be disrupted between Wayne Junction and Center City. The inconvenience will continue for 5 months. Philadelphia City Council once again has the issue
at 20th and Venango in North Philadelphia. This is the final 4 months of a refurbishing project that covers 4 miles of track and 25 bridges through North Philadelphia. SEPTA says some riders will be inconvenienced, but there's a payoff when it's all completed September 4th.
What that means for the riders is that they'll have a smoother ride, a more comfortable ride. In addition to that, eventually they will have a faster ride.
But for now, no train service at all on Route 6 Norristown, R7 Chestnut Hill East, and R8 Fox Chase. Those commuters will have bus service. SEPTA has also set up a Railworks hotline. The number is 961-4900.
struck by a freight train this morning in South Philadelphia, and to say the least, he is lucky to be alive. Action News reporter Denise James is live at Children's Hospital tonight. Denise, you've got the details.
Yes, Jim. 12-year-old Kevin McCrae of South Philadelphia is here at Children's recovering after surgery on his severed leg. He was struck by a northbound CXS train near 26th and Passyunk. Police say the boy and some friends had hitched a ride on the freight car early this morning. McCrae was hit while attempting to jump off the train, and part of his right leg was severed. The first officers on the scene rushed him and his severed leg to Children's Hospital. The boy was in surgery until this afternoon. No word yet on whether doctors reattached or even attempted to reattach the severed limb. One other boy was hit his head on a pole while attempting to run after the accident. He was treated here for lacerations and released. That's the latest from now. I'm Denise James, live on the Action Cam from Children's Hospital.
All right, Denise, thank you. Officials say careless smoking is to blame for a fire that claimed the life of a 75-year-old man.
Roberts, you're good out the connection, over. Roberts to 652, crew at Wayne. We're going to have a 4 day for